G-Fest. Oh man, mighty. It's only January. Why the hell am I making a video about G-Fest now? What's this? Okay, I guess we're going to a new convention this year. Oh man, a new year with it brings a new kaiju convention that we're gonna go to this year. And that being Destroy All Monsters, or D.A.M Con. So I guess for this, it's D.A.M Con. Oh man, new and upcoming D.A.M Con. So, this convention is a new one, and because of the two, I'm gonna assume that this has started just from last year. And funny enough, this is actually in my neck of the woods, the old Yeehaw land. And one of the biggest reasons that I'm going, if y'all are curious, February 1st, 2025, at the Hellish Shrine Event Center. And if you can already see him right here, here's our special guest of honor, and the main reason that I'm even coming to this convention in the first place, Ryuhei Kitamura, the director of Godzilla Final Wars. So about 2 months ago or so, I actually saw this ad showing that Ryuhei Kitamura was going to be there at this convention, and so I decided that I really didn't have anything to do for February, so I figured why the hell not? It would be a fun little experience. And as we're recording this video, it is January 31st, and so I head out tomorrow for this convention, and I'm going to be bringing one of my buddies along, and pretty much my only main objective is to get Ryuhei Kitamura to sign my first ever Godzilla figure. My Bandai Creations, I want to say 12-inch Godzilla Final Wars. So yeah, this will be interesting. This is a very, very new convention, I'm assuming, considering it has a 2 on it. And so yeah, it'll be fun. Just kind of looking. It seems like it's going to be like one giant dealer's room with some people that you can get autographs from. So that's good to know that Ryuhei will be right here up at the entrance. And I'm just trying to see what else there might be. So yeah, this seems like it's going to be a pretty fun convention to go to. I would say now let's just cut over to the next day, shall we? Okay, so it is February 1st and it is the day of D.A.M Con. As you can see right now, it is about, what time is it? 10:55 in the morning. So I'm on my way to pick up my buddy, and then we're gonna get something to eat, and then we will head straight to the convention. And I've got my backpack and whatnot in the back. And if you saw in the previous clip, I've actually got some new filming tech. So yeah, we're gonna try it out today. So yeah, let's go. So from where I was to how far this convention was, it was about like an hour and 45 minutes, so we made that trek, and I was the one driving, so I had to go pick up my friend first and then drive us all the way to Garland, which is where this convention was. And getting there, thankfully, the line for the convention had already passed for like getting your passes and whatnot, and basically you just show them your order, I think it was like order confirmation code, and then they give you a wristband. And for $10 extra, you can get the poster for the convention. And when we got there, they were already out of stock of the ones that were available up front. So I ordered the packet that gets you like the ticket for the entire convention and also the poster. So basically the compensation that I got is I got the display poster from the actual artist, and he autographed it for me. So I was like, holy shit, what type of compensation is that? That's fucking awesome. And I will say as well, the service there for like the attendees and whatnot that were working, very good. You know, they're very nice, very chill. I understand that running these conventions can be sometimes very chaotic. So they handled it very well, and even if I didn't get my poster, I still would have been fine. It wouldn't have been like the end of the world, but no, I actually got some pretty good compensation for it. Anyways, to describe the layout of the place, and as you're probably seeing the footage right now, it is basically just an all-in-one convention room. You have like your interview, which takes place on the stage, and I think they interviewed all of the special guests there. We didn't stick around that long for it, but yeah, it's like the dealer's room, it's a game room. You have your autographs on one corner. You have the interview up center stage. You have basically just everything in one room, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just kind of a funny observation. I guess since I'm very used to G-Fest and having everything be spread out across an entire hotel, this was pretty interesting to. This was a new experience, basically. So after doing a little bit of exploring and talking to some of the vendors, I figured it was time for me to go up to meet the man himself, Ryuhei Kitamura, the director of Godzilla Final Wars. And I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty nervous stepping up there to meet him. Which, funny story, or two funny instances that happened whenever I went up there. There was a lady who asked, like, hey, what do you want to get from Ryuhei Kitamura? And I said, hey, can I get an autograph and a photo? And she was like, oh yeah, sure. And she let me pay for the packet, basically, that you get for that. And she asked me, like, what do you want to get him signed? And she started going for some of the papers that they had of Ryuhei Kitamura that you could sign. Excuse me, what the heck was that? And I said, oh, no, I have something that I can have him sign. And then I pulled out my Godzilla figure, and she was very surprised that I did that. I don't think she was, like, necessarily, like, annoyed. I think it just took her so off guard. But eventually it was my time to go up there and meet him, and I'll show the photo now of me and Ryuhei Kitamura together. And funny enough, as you saw earlier, I had my Godzilla Final Wars shirt on, and he said to me, because he can actually speak really good English, he was like, oh, I wonder who made that movie. And I was like, oh yeah, I would love to meet the guy. But yeah, I mean, overall, Ryuhei Kitamura is a very nice and very chill person to be around, and I can tell that he has a lot of love and compassion for the people who come up to him and want to talk to him about films and whatnot. I didn't stick around for too long because I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of nervous standing next to him, but he was such a kind individual, like seriously amazing, and I do hope that one day he can come to a G-Fest so I can meet him again, because trust me, I have a lot more things that I would like him to sign. So after getting my Godzilla figure signed by Ryuhei Kitamura, it was then time to just kind of walk around the convention a bit and see what I could buy. And funny enough, at this convention, I met Creature Preacher? Is that what his name is? Hold on, let me check. Yeah, here we go. Creature Preacher, I think his name is. But yeah, he was at D.A.M Con, and I recognized his style of 3D prints because I actually have a special customized commission print from him in my collection, and it's my concept art Space Godzilla that I bought from him at G-Fest 2023, I believe? Yeah. So we had a nice little talk, and we were discussing about like 3D stuff and whatnot, and he was a super cool dude. So it was funny to see him there at the convention as well. So one of the biggest things that I noticed about all the vendors at this convention, well, not all of them, but like I would say like maybe half of them, is that they were all like their own little individual businesses and whatnot. And I really haven't seen that at a convention. At least definitely not at G-Fest, because G-Fest is literally just every table is just basically just mini eBay. But yeah, it was nice to see some of these little like individual businesses, and I'll like obviously put up a couple clips and whatnot. But the one that I was actually talking with the most, and I just want to shout him out, his account's name is Trip Rabbit, and he does like all these little custom signs of like kaiju and whatnot. Like I'm looking at one of his posts, and it's of Shin Godzilla, and they're wood cutout acrylic painting with epoxy finish. And I don't know why, I just thought that was really cool. And some of them have a blacklight effect on them. And I was discussing with him, and I was like, hey, maybe you could make me a custom seismic sign. So I don't know, I might actually commission him to do something like that for me in the future. I think it'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, overall, I didn't really spend that much money at this convention. I bought like a couple things here and there, and obviously I'll show them off a little later in this video once I tell you all the events and whatnot, and I'll give a little bit of a mini D.A.M Con haul. That's such a strange phrase to say, D.A.M Con. I don't know why, that's just odd to me. But, I mean, that was kind of the whole convention, literally just meeting Ryuhei Kitamura and then walking around a bit and then leaving. wasn't really that much I could do, honestly. I obviously stayed there as long as I could so that way I could like get footage of this convention because I do want it to grow. I will say there was the one Godzilla cosplayer there that I'll put up a photo now of. You've probably seen him on Instagram and whatnot, so he was there and he was just standing in the corner of the convention like a FNAF character. It was very off-putting, but I will say that I would say probably the second highlight of this convention for me was actually meeting like the owner slash like coordinator of the convention. So I have his account, like his actual account name right here. It's shopblackmarket.co. And God, I hate that I forgot his name, but I was talking with him for a very long time, basically just expressing my gratefulness that he made this more local kaiju convention that seems to be really taking off the ground at a really fast pace. Because he told me at the beginning of the convention that morning, the line was literally wrapping around the entire building, which is insane to me. And I can say from firsthand experience that inside that convention, it was pretty packed, I will admit. So it was nice to see that there was like a lot of these kaiju fans that were coming to this small little convention. And I was, as someone who likes to go to a lot of conventions over the years, I was giving him some recommendations for like future venues that may have a little bit more space, along with like maybe more convenient locations and whatnot, yada yada yada. And he was just telling me about like his reasonings for making the convention and how he's wanted to do this. And he was stunned and what's the word? Exhilarated by the success of this convention. And I mean, it just tells you something. It really does, that we as kaiju fans want more of these kaiju conventions yearly instead of it just being G-Fest. Don't get me wrong, I love G-Fest, but it has become such a massive thing that it is becoming harder and harder for some fans to get to. So it's nice that we have these smaller conventions like D.A.M Con, which luckily for me are more local. I can literally drive to this convention. I hope the owner is okay with me telling this next story. But before that, I do also want to say that this is one of the very few conventions that Ryuhei Kitamura has actually attended. I didn't realize this at first, but I don't think Ryuhei Kitamura has ever actually attended a G-Fest before. And from what the owner told me, this is actually kind of pissed off Kitamura because, especially with last year, G-Fest 2024, that was the 20-year anniversary of his Godzilla film, Final Wars. And they played that at the Pickwick Theater, and trust me, the audience reactions were insane. But what I found very funny is the first thing that Ryuhei Kitamura wanted to do whenever he landed in, like, I'm gonna assume either the Dallas or Fort Worth airport, is he immediately wanted to go to Texas Roadhouse for some steak. And he also went to his first ever Buc-ee's this year. Which is crazy because the night before this convention, I was actually thinking about a scenario where Ryuhei Kitamura was at Buc-ee's, and my god, the prophecy is true. But yeah, no, the owner was super chill, and it was such a nice time talking to him. He just seems like such a genuine guy, and he has said that he wants to do this more often, so that just gives me hope for the future that D.A.M Con will continue to grow over the years and maybe one day rival the success of G-Fest. It would be a nice, it's a nice, like, hopeful vision for the future. But I mean, after that, me and my buddy just walked around a little bit more around the convention, but we were pretty much finished, so we headed back.
Goodbye.
So overall, this basically is my entire haul for D.A.M Con 2025, I guess you could say. Like a couple figures and then a couple posters and whatnot, but obviously I was saving up most of my money for Ryuhei Kitamura and making sure that I got my autograph and photo. So yeah, honestly, D.A.M Con was actually a pretty fun time. I'm not gonna lie. It actually surprised me how much fun I had at the convention and like the new the new connections that I met at D.A.M Con. It was seriously a blast meeting the director of my favorite Godzilla film. And I do seriously hope the G-Fest eventually brings him to Chicago for that convention. But for what I got, he was a super chill guy, amazing sense of style, and he's just such a kind-hearted soul. And I really hope I can meet him again in the future. But yeah, overall, I'm just very happy that we are starting to get more and more kaiju conventions over the years, and they're starting to grow in popularity. Because not to mention, All Monsters Attack is happening in May, and I'm seriously hoping that I can go to that with Chris and Lewis. So we'll just have to see. Loose plans for now. But for what we have for D.A.M Con, I'm so glad that I was able to go to this small little local kaiju convention, and I seriously do hope it grows more and more in the future. So, yeah, that is how I met Ryuhei Kitamura and how I got him to sign my first ever Godzilla figure. And that is also my experience at D.A.M Con 2, and my god, I can't wait for the one in the fall, and I'm hoping that it's maybe close enough for me to go to. But with that, I'm Seismic. Subscribe if you're interested, drink plenty of water. I'll see you all on the flip side. Peace out!